Okay, voice should be good now, I believe. Yep, I see it moving around. Hello, Wayne. Hello, everybody. Hello, Tony. Looks like voice should be good now, folks. Just confirm that for me when you get a chance. And we'll be getting started. I see it moving around okay here, so we should be good to go. All right, the disclaimer already kind of went and was gone. And we should be a-okay. That's what it is. I just restarted my computer. All right, the disclaimer is right there for your information. We're doing the futures now, intraday trading. Again, my name is Bojan Petreski. Go by Bo. Easier to say to remember. May 18th, and then of course my link right here, tradewithufos.com/Bojan. Please definitely check it out. There's a lot of information there, questions, answers by other traders that you might want to check out yourself. And then of course, if there's any additional questions that are not posted there, you feel free to go ahead and get those questions posted. We'll get them answered and so on. The agenda for today, right? So what are we doing here? We're simulcasting. That's the first thing. That's just to let you know that we have public streams going on YouTube, Facebook, and of course our private stream on tradewithufos.com/live, which after the first 1 or 2 trades, or usually the first half hour, we're going to turn off the other streams and continue on to our private stream. We're going to take a look at what the market environment is on the products that we're trading, which is typically our futures instruments, the 50-minute, 60-minute, and 180-minute time frames. Looking at trades from last week. Let me take a look here. All right, so last week was the where the hell did it go? Last week was the 11th. We did have a couple of trades last week, so let's take a look at those real quick. The first one I believe that we did have was crude oil. So crude oil we did set up, we got into it, and if I'm not mistaken, that was a very quick stop out. Here it is. All right, that's too many things there. So that's our setup on the left. As you see, we were getting in at 64.86. Before we could trigger our time stop rule, we got slipped out. There was a strong push down on crude oil. We got into it. It was confirmed climate. Everything was looking good, but unfortunately, it ended up stopping us out. That's fine. We took the screenshot of it. We got it together, and that was that. Now this one was a little bit of a teaser for gold. We got into the trade. Right, it was moving very well. We were, I want to say, 1 or 2 ticks away from our first profit target, and then it just jerked us out of the trade. Ended up moving higher, ended up stopping us out. It is what it is. It was a very it was moving very nicely, almost at our T1 to be out of risk, but unfortunately ended up stopping us out. And then RTY. This one just never came close, so we ended up unfortunately canceling this one out. This one just kept on going higher, and also the moving average ended up changing to the high side, so it would miss this entry altogether. All right, so that's that from last week's trades. We're gonna look at we don't have any open trades, and as I've said a lot of times with these when we're doing intraday trading, if you have an open trade for a week that you started off as an intraday and it's still open, you must have a very, very big smile on your face, because for a trade to remain open for that long that started off as an intraday and turned into either a swing or a position trade, that means you're just keep moving your stop higher if it's going up, or lower if it keeps going lower, meaning you're just protecting profits, and it still hasn't taken you out. So I would expect to see you here with a giant smile on your face, right? Because that yellow or green bar on your matrix is probably a mile long, right? All right, so that's that for those. And then let's go ahead and start looking for new opportunities. Before that, I just want to take a look at... All right, I see what's going on there. All right, looking good. YouTube, Vimeo, everything's looking fine. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started here. Oops, there's that. There we go. Open that workspace. Short time frame workspace. And let's go ahead and get started here quickly. Alrighty. So, what are we doing today? We're trading using a permission-based system, right? We can't just do whatever we want. We have to do only what our system and our trade plan allows us to do. And what does it currently allow us to do? Well, currently it allows us to only open trades that are, number one, a confirmed climate. And we know it's a confirmed climate because we see this is a colored square, or rather rectangle. It's an up climate, and not just that, but it's also a near sensible long. So this is the very first one we're going to open right away. And then we see that the next one down, similar thing, a near sensible short and a confirmed climate is on the 60-minute climate, the 30-year note. So let's go ahead and get those opened right now. The 15-minute time frame on the euro and the 60-minute time frame on the US. Alrighty. Let's get the ball rolling for this week. Okay. There we go. While that's opening, just gonna grab a quick sip of water. All right, first one we're gonna look at is gonna be the euro contract, mainly because it is obviously faster moving. It's on the 15-minute time frame. So we're gonna take a look at that one first, and we may already have a trade in front of us here. 22,200, 22,200. That is the trade right there. All right, so let's go ahead. Come on. Ooh, and that is the only UFO right there. So 22,205 is the actual entry, right where the price is right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that. And the UFO is gone. Cannot take it anymore. Man. What a teaser, right? The UFO, as we were just about to get filled on this one, we missed it by like literally not even seconds. We're in question here. We had a UFO that was right here, as you saw. Actually, let me go ahead and draw it a little bit better here. We had a UFO right here that price was just getting into, and by the time we put our order in, it actually ended up filling the UFO. The unfilled orders got filled, and therefore we do not have an entry right now. Now, obviously, it's already moving to the upside here. Could a new UFO form if this pushes a little higher and in a faster type of a move? Absolutely. Right? Could that happen? Absolutely it can. We have a confirmed climate. It's the first one after a lot of indecision in the back here. So we're gonna keep an eye out on this if we do see some sort of a movement that's gonna give us an entry. In the meantime, though, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at the 30-year note and see what we got going on the 30-year note. Now the 30-year note ticks at 31.25 or what was it, 31.50 per tick, so it can be an expensive product to trade. So if it's a large zone, there's a good chance that I just simply won't take it. But actually, look at that. As we saw it earlier being confirmed, as you see right now, it is actually unconfirmed. So that's kind of the advantage of having a very reactive type of a setup, type of a system, as opposed to just kind of saying, oh, well, the analysis said that this is good to go, and now, you get into the trade, and then it changes on you. right? You have to have certain conditions, certain rules, and information in front of you where you're going to say, okay, well, if that happens, then I'm going to do this, right? Since right now, before entering this trade, we do not have a confirmed climate, we're going to go ahead and skip on this, right? Because obviously the climate's unconfirmed. So that we don't have an advantage, we don't have an edge that we want to take advantage of. All right, so we're going to go ahead and let that go. And here we are. I was about to just announce it before the alerts came in. We have an update to the climate, and look at that. The climate on the euro actually changed to a sensible short unconfirmed, right? So the software detected that, hey, you know, this is not good enough for longs anymore, and now look for shorts. All right, a near sensible short, okay, a near sensible short on the ES, even though it's in negative ATR, could give us an opportunity to get in, mainly because if it moves down sharply, a new UFO could form, and that new UFO could let us get in on the trade. So let's go ahead and open up the ES and see what exactly is going on here. Okay, nothing there and nothing there. All right, so as we see, the moving average is at 41.59, so it's right there on the money. All right, now if we see a sort of a sharp move down, right, we see that price is trading above the moving average, so that means we can't enter the trade just yet. However, if something like this were to happen, right, a sharp drop down, you know, across the board, you know, whatever the case is, right, and we see a new UFO form right there, well then, you know, that would be the perfect setup to get in on a short right there, right, because that would coincide with the moving average, which is currently around this 159, 160 area right there, and, you know, it would be according to our plan. We just have to see price do what we expect it to do, right? If it keeps on going higher, then it may end up reverting to unconfirmed again, and therefore we cannot take the trade. Okay, so let's see here. What else do we have going on, if anything? All right, so unconfirmed, unconfirmed, confirmed climates, but all in the hopeful territory. I'm going to skip on these for now, if you don't mind. Unconfirmed on the NQ, nothing to do there. The ES 60 minute is also a flashing red. So let's go ahead and open that one. So the ES 60 minute is flashing red. Okay, let me know if you guys are following me so far. If you have any questions or anything, please feel free to type them in the chat. If it's going good, just, you know, let me know. Hey, say it's going good. Let's go ahead and change it to the ESM21. All right. Okay, there we are. So what do we have going on here? So we're seeing a little bit of a pullback here. I just want to take a quick look here to see if anything's changed. Nothing's changed. So on the 60 minute, we're looking at 41.62 as the moving average. 41.62.75 really. So if this pushes up, it could coincide with this UFO right here at 41.64.25 for a potential entry. Now, in the meantime, I'm just going to keep toggling through the 15 minute just to make sure we don't miss something. If it does create a new UFO, there's a good chance that we might need to even get in with a market entry. But as of right now, it's not there, so we're just going to keep looking. Okay, but otherwise, a more kind of slower, you know, further away type of a move would actually be this 41.63.25. setup, meaning the bottom of this UFO, which would coincide with the moving average. And as we see, this is on the 4th out of typically 4. So that would mean that by the end of this session, we would need to be out of risk. Otherwise, we're going to be past the point where we would like to be in this trade, and we don't want it to get into hopeful territory as we're looking at a trade that is an intraday trade. All right, the stop for this one would have to be up at 67.75. All right, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm sorry, 9. That's what it is. So that would be here. And then for our final target would be way down there at 41.40. Oops, let's go ahead and put that there. Just want to see what this actual, oh, I ended up moving it. Let's go ahead and reload that data, maximize this screen. So as we see, the first opposing UFO is down here, and it starts at 41.38. So we're gonna put our final target at 41.38. Right there. All right, let's take a quick look here. No new UFOs have formed. I'm telling you, if this drops sharply from this area, that there's a good chance that we will get a UFO form right there. So we could definitely take a lower entry, and then if that doesn't work, if it's a small enough UFO to stop us out, then we can retake this 60-minute time frame trade, which obviously this one does imply a little bit more risk. We're talking 5.25 points, right? So looking at $50 a point, that's 262 per contract times two contracts is 525. If that is a little bit too much for your account or for your risk appetite, you can definitely take a look at getting in with the micros. Matter of fact, that's probably what I will end up doing, because again, I just don't want that to be. Look at euro selling off big time, which is why I'm so happy that happened with the unconfirmed climate, from the confirmed change to unconfirmed, so that way we don't get into a trade that's about ready to drop down like that. Okay, let's see here. Yep, everything's looking good. No other things to see here. So let's take a peek at, so ES sensible short is again flashing. Of course, we're still kind of waiting for a UFO to form. If this ends up dropping, we should, we'll be ready to go on the trigger to get in. Potentially, as I said, with the market order, if it does create a new UFO. As we see right here on the 377 tick bar, it did make one. So if you were a little bit more aggressive, you could actually get in on this right now, because again, this is a smaller time frame that is, more sensitive to a smaller amount of unfilled orders. But of course, you would have to get in right at this 41.59. Anything above that would essentially be not according to the plan. Definitely a bit of a battle going on over there with those two. Let's see what we have here. 60-minute ES we already have open. The Dow is showing a near sensible on the 240 minutes. So let's go ahead and open that one up. We just have to keep cycling through until we find a trade. Sometimes, as you saw many times before with me, we open up a chart and it's just like right there, bam, trade. But unfortunately, sometimes that's just not the case. Why is it? Did it just change? No, it's telling me that it is. Am I not? Yeah, the June contract, the M. That's a little strange. It's actually giving us an unconfirmed climate on the 240 minute on the Dow. Yet the ooh, those are some massive UFOs. Okay, so we're not gonna be able to get in on this, mainly because these are just, you know, excessive risk. I mean, we're talking, you know, 70 something points here on the Dow at $5 a pop. That's $350 a contract. So you're looking at a $700 trade, 700 risk trade. So we're gonna go ahead and skip on that. So, all right. Well, you know, it's a little bit slower than we typically like it to be. That's just that, you know, we just have to kind of sometimes sit on our hands and let things play out and see how it goes, because obviously, you know, we do have a trade set up here. I'm actually going to screenshot this one. That's the 60-minute time frame. So I'm going to go ahead and screenshot this. So 2021 05 18 ES 60-minute setup. Okay. You know, for now, that's the only trade we have set up. Obviously, entry is a little bit of ways away. Seeing some flashing alerts on gold. It is a flashing alert, but it is not a confirmed climate. So nothing to do there. All right, so I guess that's that. We're just gonna have to keep cycling through these just to make sure we don't miss something. Because if this does start, you know, springing to the downside, we're definitely gonna see a UFO. It's just a matter of, you know, getting in on it and not missing it. So we're gonna keep looking at it. The euro, I am going to assume that it's going to become a confirmed down climate, which would mean a potential entry over here at 22,205 might actually be a good entry for a short. So if you remember from earlier, that was our long entry, 205. So now it appears that the sellers are in control. We just need a confirmed down climate, and then we'll be able to get in on this. As of right now, though, we simply don't have that. We should have an update in about 2.5 minutes. So we'll be able to take a look and see what's going to happen with that. Otherwise, not a whole lot going on, guys. You know, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles. What are you going to do? Let me just double check the chat here. Everybody good on your end? If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, you know, please feel free to type them in the chat. As of right now, not a whole lot going on. There we go. ES might be pushing a little lower now. Just kind of dancing around that moving average. I mean, the moving average is an important point of control here. See this move down, that's, you know, that's it. That's most likely our entry. There's some unfilled orders that won't get filled will be there. Now, if it does just keep dancing, you know, like this the whole time, then obviously we won't be able to take advantage of it. But in the meantime, you know, that's the closest one that we have. And also the one that we already have a setup on, and that's already put on. So the Dow, since it's unconfirmed, I'm gonna go ahead and close it. And the euro, I do want to just get this update in the next minute to see what's actually going to happen, to see if we're gonna have some sort of an update to the climate? I believe we will. And my question will be, or rather my hope would be that, you know, as this moving average updates, you know, whether or not we'll be taking any of these newly formed UFOs, because as we see here, this 22,135 goes up to 160, so that won't work. But if this gets pushed into the 160, 150 area, somewhere around there, we will actually be okay to take this trade at this 135. The stop would have to go above this 2230, and okay, our UFO just disappeared. Unconfirmed climate still on the euro. I'm gonna go ahead and close it. Confirmed climate still on the ES. So that one is still looking okay for there. No updates on this one. We are pushing a little bit lower again, testing these lows over here. This is kind of, you know, narrowing down. So we're gonna see it's kind of, you know, looks like it's wedging and dropping to the downside. There we go. There's our UFO. So we're gonna go ahead and get in on this 57. It's 57.5, I believe. That's the one. So we're gonna go ahead and get in on that, and we're in. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're good. Okay. We got in actually a little bit better than the UFO. Let's just make sure to adjust our stop. Our stop, I'm gonna go ahead and cancel this sale right there. Cancel that. Our stop is actually going to be at 60.75. So 60.75 is our stop. Okay, our T1, all right, we had a sharp drop there. Let me just take a screenshot of this. And then our final target was at 38, if I'm not mistaken, from before. Let's go ahead and take this screenshot. That was a little fast moving, so we had to take advantage of that. 0518 ES 50-minute setup. Okay, so that's our setup right there. Now we need to adjust this to be over here at this 325. That should be our T1 at 54.25. Okay, that should be our T1. All right, and as long as we pop that T1, okay, 57.50, we also have a new UFO. All right, let's go T1. And we'll be able to move our stop. We don't even have to draw the time stop rule. There it is. We can immediately move our stop down to 57.75. 57.75. Boom, this is a definite profitable trade. All right, so we're looking pretty good, pretty solid on this trade. Have a UFO that we need to get through here and here and here, but our final target, as we said, is down below here at let's just go ahead and confirm that. Auto UFOs, yep, here we go. It is over here at 41.35 actually. So 41.35 is our final target. 41.35 is our final target. We moved our stop to the newly formed UFO. Now, if you want to be, you know, more conservative with this trade, if you want to be more aggressive with your profit taking, there's a couple of different things that we can utilize here. The first one is, let's say this moves you know, let's say from right here we don't see a new UFO form around this 54 area. What you could do is you could take a measurement from your from the stop that we had, which is basically a trend line. You know, to make it a little more visual, I'm gonna go ahead and do that for you. If I can just find my trend line, where the heck did it go? All right, we'll just use the horizontal line. So our stop was at 60.75, right? And this was our entry point. And I do need my trend line here, and I don't know what happened to it. It's always in the there it is. Don't extend, right? So this is the distance between our T1, between our stop and our T1 and entry. So this is between the stop and the entry point. So at this point down, we can draw another horizontal line. This is where we got our T1, right? As you see right there with the blue arrow, that's where we got our T1. Looks like we might have even gotten slips for some positive slippage. Always a good thing, right? If something like this were to happen and price reaches this horizontal line down here, so 41.50, let's call it 75, right? 41.50, 75. And I just want to be as exact as I can be. And no new UFO forms, meaning, oops, why did I reload? Meaning something of the following, you know, action happens, right? Let me just freeze this, right? We get a little more indecision here, and then we just drop down again here, but we don't get a new UFO forming here. Well, as soon as price reaches this 41.50.75, we can actually go ahead and take our stop, right? We can take our stop and just move it down to right above this 41.54.25 area where we took our T1. All right, so let me just draw this again. So we would take our stop and drop it right here if price moves down to this 41.50.75 area without making a new UFO. So that's, you know, we can apply a too fast, too soon type of rule. And as long as no new UFO forms, we're okay to actually take advantage of that and protect some of our profits. Right? So prices again pushing back up, reacting off of these UFOs. That's okay. That's expected. Nothing there to, you know, concern us. We do want to see these two new UFOs hold, right, before it moves down. So we definitely want to see the price touch these UFOs and then, you know, collapse down. In the event that it doesn't, obviously, you know, we already closed 161, I think, bucks minus the commissions here. So what it's going to do is just going to push back and, you know, stop us out for -12. So overall, an overall profitable trade. But, you know, what we would like to see is some, you know, additional push down so we can take advantage of this move. Don't get out too early. Don't get out too soon. You know, we definitely want to go ahead and keep this on. All right, folks, at this point, I think it's only fair that we go ahead and switch to the private channels. You got this trade set up. Excuse me. You got the trade set up. We're going to keep, since we have T1, we're going to go ahead and start looking for trades on other instruments while this one is off, because again, we're risk off, and not only risk off, but we're definitely going to be profitable no matter what happens. All right, so if you haven't already, please switch to our private stream, and if you don't have access to it, please subscribe to our channel. All right, in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and keep on changing this. This one we have nothing to do. We don't need to just keep looking at it. We can just switch